Welcome to the Urban Blackboard, the program that brings you glimpses of urban life and tries to show you those lessons that those glimpses teach us. Today, my guest is again Mr. Jacques Gillette, a student of anthropology, an actor, an artist, and what else did you do?
Entrepreneur. Also do community activist. Also do garden work. I'm on the Greenmaker Garden Committee in the city of Patterson for the Community Gardens Project. Yeah, I'm a polymath, you know.
Polymath. Ooh, okay. Well, his job is to teach me a little bit more about hip hop and rap.
Yes.
Now, last show, you were talking about the beginnings of rap.
Yes.
But we may have skipped a few things.
Yes. Actually, to go back to, because what I was saying earlier was that, in the previous episode was that hip hop started with the DJ, and men like, of course, Kool Herc, which actually, for people who don't know, they just named Sedgwick Ave, which is in the housing projects where Kool Herc actually started hip hop in the rec room. They just named it Hip Hop Boulevard. So they just did that a few days ago. So, it's a good look for the culture, for the community. And that's where it started. It started with him and the DJ, and then you had Africa Bambaataa, and you had Grandmaster Flash. But the mixes that Grandmaster Flash used to do were just extraordinary. He would just take a lot of these beats, these breaks from songs like the Bongo Brothers track, which is one of the fabrics of hip hop, and he used to do a mix, and it's a mix that really started that energy, that movement. He was very scientific with it, with scratching and just extending the record by taking certain breaks. So it was, and one of his early mixes is a prime example of it.
What was the message that they were trying to get across back then?
Well, then, in his early stages of it, because hip hop also, a lot of the roots of it, came out of that '70s era, and they actually, and that music, that time period, the '70s was a very special time. A lot of people don't really appreciate it because you had disco that came out in that era. You also had punk rock that came out in that era, and then also the emergence of hip hop. And they were just taking those records and especially those drum patterns and just extended it. And then the MC came along, which was, I believe they credit the first MC to be Cowboy, which was one of Grandmaster Flash's when he used to do his parties. But the roots of it, of spoken word and poetry, goes back to, the Last Poets, which actually we was talking about, and
them I know.
Yes, and it's funny because I only heard their stuff but didn't know who they were, and going back and listening to some of their stuff, I was realizing that a lot of hip hop tracks took some of the phrases and some of the wording from a lot of the Last Poets works. So it came out of that vein of partying of good music, but also have a bit of consciousness to it.
We'll try to include a moment or two of the Last Poets' work.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like when the revolution comes. Yeah, even that one, a lot of even words and sayings came, that came out of that one.
When the revolution comes. When the revolution comes, some of us will probably catch it on TV with chicken hanging from our mouths. You'll know it's revolution because there won't be no commercial. When the revolution comes, when the revolution comes, when the revolution comes, preacher pimps are gonna split the scene with the communion wine stuck in their back pockets. Faggots won't be so funny then, and all the junkies will quit their nod and wake up when the revolution comes. When the revolution comes, transit cops will be crushed by the trains after losing their guns, and blood will run through the streets of Harlem, drowning anything without substance. When the revolution comes, when the revolution comes, when the revolution comes, when the revolution comes.
Now, Grandmaster Flash.
Yes.
He seems to be an important figure.
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
When it came to just scratching and just extending, taking pieces of little records and just extending it, because how they did it was they would take a record and have they try to get a duplicate of the record so that he can go back and forth while he was mixing. This is where DJ turntablism, the art of turntablism, comes from. And just from him, for him and from Kool Herc and Africa Bambaataa, all the way up until today, you know, turntablism is one of the fine arts in hip hop. All the way in, and there's different levels of turntablism. Like the highest level, of course, is Grandmaster, which you know your Grandmaster Flash.
You get a degree in turntablism?
Yeah, to some extent, it's yeah, because there are competitions. And yeah, there actually is an approval process for you to become a Grandmaster. You know, like one of my favorite Grandmasters is Grandmaster Q-Bert.
Well, who does this judging for all of this?
It's you get blessed by other Grandmasters. Yeah.
Okay, well, I certainly didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. But you have to show exceptional amount of skill, and you know, and one of my favorite Grandmasters, like I said, is Q-Bert, and he's one of those guys who did that. And he has, you know, he brought it, you know, scratching and turntablism to a whole new level.
Well, we're going to take a break, and in the meantime, we'll show you a little bit of Grandmaster Flash's, whatever you call it again, tablism?
Yeah, turntablism, his mix, yeah.
We'll be right back. You just heard and witnessed a piece of the Grandmaster Flash mix.
Yes.
So I get a sense now what a mix is. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Well, next, well, you know, after that, when hip hop started, you know, having these groups like the Cold Crush Brothers, and you started, you know, with guys with Curtis Blow. This is like, you know, in the late '70s, early '80s, and then you had the emergence of Run DMC, all the way up, and then you had these different groups coming out. You know, Grandmaster Flash, you know, he had formed his clique, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and their song, The Message, in my opinion, if hip hop had a soundtrack, it's one of those, like, that's one of the songs on the soundtrack, because The Message was a song that really was about the conditions in which they were living in. It was the truth. It was about, and that's what hip hop was at the time. It was authentic. It was about the plight of urban America, as well as, you know, escapism in the sense of partying and, you know, making records about, you know, living a good life. But it was also about the reality, you know, all the way from, you know, even the opening verse, you know, like broken glass everywhere, people, and they just don't care, like that, all the way. That's what it was, and especially, and if you show a piece of that video, you know, that's the reality of what they were, you know, living in the South, in the Bronx.
And that's what the Last Poets were doing, giving a reflection of my life. This is what we're seeing. This is how I live. This is my world. That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Broken glass everywhere, people pissing on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise, got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with the tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
But when did it become more theater?
More theater. Well, you know what? To some extent, you know, like especially those groups, Grandmaster Flash, you know, it was somewhat like it was showmanship in the sense of how they dressed. You know, like they wore like, you know, like outfits. You know, these guys had like, you know, like the leather jackets, or, you know, like the patent leather suits, and like, you know, with the, like, it looked like, you know, that almost that pop rockish of the '80s of that time. And then you had, you know, Run DMC come with the, you know, you know, on more of like with the shell toe Adidas and you know with the black leather jackets and the, you know, black gloves and the black brims. Like that was just, and they changed it, you know, that wise, you know, as a former show, you know, at theater. But that was like, you know, it was just, that was the style. That was like, whoa, what's this? You know, it was something new. But what else do you mean by theater? You mean?
Well, you know, my big problem with hip hop or rap is the message somewhere got corrupted. We moved from the Last Poets to Luke and the Boys. Okay. And then from them we moved to crunk music. Okay. And now we're where Lil Wayne is, which you know.
Okay.
And I
shout out to Lil Wayne. Shout out to Lil Wayne.
And so, I imagine the goal is to become increasingly outrageous, and I sort of see that because that's how I view it. Now that might not be the case, but from where I'm sitting, there's a sense that I have to be more outrageous than somebody else in order to capture the attention of whomever.
Got you. Okay. So you're okay. Well, you know, hip hop. I think music in general, in any genre, you know, it has to go through a evolutionary process. It has to change. I think that because you're referring more to, I guess, the more of the street lifestyle. Like, yes. I mean, you want to say you want to start with like gangster rap.
Well, we had talked about moving into the discussion of things like O.P.P.
Yeah.
And the message from Naughty by Nature's O.P.P. Or other people's property. And you know, from my point of view, I'm looking at them saying, wait a minute, what are you saying there? What are you doing? Now, and I do recognize that you have O.P.P., we had Johnny Taylor, who's making love to your old lady, and so I can't say it didn't happen before. It happened. Surely it happened.
Surely. Johnny Taylor was a man whore. Are you kidding me? Oh, his whole catalog was all about sleeping with someone else's woman.
Absolutely. And we'll play a little bit of that to give you the flavor.
You look at Johnny Taylor, I'm just like, wow. How your whole catalog is about you not only cheating, but sleeping with other people's women.
That's right. Yes.
Right, a whole bunch of songs. His whole catalog is that.
Which my favorite is Who's Making Love, which sort of just says, you got to think about what's happening at home on the home front while you're busy.
Give me now. All you fellas, gather around me and let me give you some good advice. But I'm gonna ask you now. You better think about it twice. Why you lie, cheating on your woman? That is something you never even thought of. I'm telling you, who's making love to your old lady? While you out making love, give me that. Now who's making love to your old lady? While you out making love.
Yeah.
So I understand that the hypocrisy there. However, when I look at other people's property, when I listen to it, you know, great beat, and then the message hit me, and I'm saying, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are you down with O.P.P.? Yeah, you know me. I said, whoa.
I gotta start to explain it. Bust it. You ever had a girl that met her on a nice hello? You get her name and number, then let feel her in my low. You get home way today, she's what you wanna know about. Do you call up in this a girlfriend's or a cousin's house? It's not a front, a F to the R to the O to the N to the T. It's just a boyfriend's at a house. Oh, that's what she's gonna read. It's O.P.P. Some other people's, but you get it. There's no room for relationships, it's just room to hit it. How many brothers out there know this what I'm getting at? Who think it's wrong cause I was splitting and co-hitting that? Well, if you do, that's O.P.P. and you're not down with it. But if you don't, here's your member.
Taylor was not saying this is okay. He was saying, I'm doing this.
Yeah, he wasn't saying it wasn't wrong either. His whole catalog was saying it
absolutely.
wasn't wrong.
It was, but this song was saying to me, it was saying, yeah, this is all right.
Yeah.
And that's what struck me as being that's along the way that shift of the message to something else.
Yeah, I think that it was. Well, you had what began to happen, especially in like I said, well, about Luke and the boys, they were talking about their reality, in Miami at the time. Like that's why, like when I said in the last episode, I said, listen, I believe Luke when he was saying he had menage a trois. I actually believe that. Like that's because there was that Miami club culture. What happened was in the 90s is when the shift really started to change, where we started getting more of this more of this talking more about this the lifestyle of of this partying, of this escapism.
Okay, that's a great word.
Really, it's really about this escapism hip hop. It started to take hold, and it came out of the vein, in that 90s era, all the way up until and then going into when the South started to emerge, all the way up until today, to what it is today. But yeah, it really is escapism rap really took over for like probably the last 20 years.
And who would you say were the leaders in that? That sort of.
That's a tough one because, see, and we're probably gonna get into gangster rap in a few because that, like, cause you understand it was certain shifts that was happening because what happened was even in during those shifts, a lot of hip hop was still like you had to have a conscious edge. Or there was a balance. It was more so a balance as far as music, like, cause you had gangster rap, you had this escapism rap, and you had party records and these feel good records, and you had these social conscious records. So like you had these gangster rap artists, but you also had Public Enemy, and they all were getting the same airplay. And you had artists who were, using profanity on records, but then you have artists like Heavy D and the Boys. You have artists like Pete Rock and CL Smooth who were not using profanity on records. So you had a balance in hip hop, and then it started like in the early to mid 90s where the escapism started to take over. As far as pioneers, it's hard to say because there was so many people, so many groups were coming out of that time because you had you had the emergence of Wu-Tang in 93, which was bringing that hardcore, mostly like that street raw hardcore hip hop, and also you had the West Coast, with Snoop, and Dr. Dre, and and the Dog Pound, and that era of gangster rap also really getting really big. And then you had the emergence of like Uptown Records and Bad Boy, which was making music more about having fun, more escapism, and since talk about the good life and that lifestyle of partying. And then artists would come along that way and in that vein, and who were talking about these things, and these records started getting huge. It started making a lot of money. So,
when in the mid '80s, you had a huge impact on crack.
Yes.
And drug.
Unfortunately.
What was the impact on the rap music of drugs?
Yeah.
Because I kind of tie, this is my own mind, I kind of tie some of the negativity to that impact on drugs in the community, in particular cocaine, crack, and that's and certainly Snoop and marijuana. But that's been there for a long time,
really, like marijuana.
So but crack was really destructive, and particularly to the black community. It was particularly destructive, and as a result of that, it certainly do some damage to the family, and that began to, at least the expressions changed in music from my point of view, from what I see. And I don't know whether that's true, because I didn't really pay attention to rap back then.
Yeah, you missed out.
Apparently I did. But I'm just wondering, was there a dramatic impact in 86, 87, somewhere in there?
Yes. Well, because one thing about hip hop and this has been one of the fundamental facts of hip hop. There's debate as whether or not that has changed, which I think it has changed, but hip hop used to, it was, as Chuck D would say, the CNN of urban America. It was telling you what was happening. So absolutely, you started to see it reflect in the music. You started seeing, but you had artists like Public Enemy talking about it, but like the effects it was having, they weren't necessarily glorifying it. It was more so about, this is what's happening in our communities. Like, this is what's going on. And you had, it's funny you said that about in the 80s, because this is where actually the emergence of gangster rap, was starting to come out. Like, the first gangster rap record, as much as Ice-T is, the grandfather of gangster rap, but he was inspired by the first gangster rap record, which really was Scholly-D's PSK.
Hold that thought right there. We're going to go ahead and play some for that Scholly-D.
Yeah, Scholly-D. Yeah.
We'll be right back, and while we're gone, you can listen to Scholly-D's PSK.
Yeah.
Hang on with it.
PSK, we're making that green. People always say, what the hell does that mean? Green for the people who can't understand. A one homeboy became a man. As for the way you scream and shout, one by one I'm knocking you out. Came for the way my DJ cutting. Other MCs, man, you ain't saying nothing. Rocking on to the break of dawn. I think cold money, your time is on.
We're back to the Urban Blackboard. That was Scholly-D's PSK.
Yeah.
PSK.
PSK. Yeah.
What does that mean anyway?
PSK is actually is the acronym for a Philly street gang named Parkside Killers. That's really what the song is about.
Oh.
And many people who a lot of people actually have heard this instrumental before. They probably didn't know it was from PSK because the late great Notorious B.I.G. used it as the B.I.G. interlude in his Life After Death album. He used that beat and that same rhyme scheme. But that's what the track was about of Scholly-D. It was about this Philly gang named Parkside Killers. And actually, and at that time, it was an independent record because Scholly-D was independent. He wasn't, I don't think he was signed to the major at the time, but that record was about that gang, and it inspired Ice-T, who was making music at the time. Like, he started out in '82, like, in LA, but he wasn't making those kind of records. Like, he was trying to, sound like how rappers were at the time, like New York guys. But when he heard that record, that inspired him, because he was like, well, I was doing gang raps when I was in high school. So it inspired him to take that to the next level. And that's when he was doing, that's where, gangster rap really emerged, when he started with his record 6 in the morning. And he brought us through that whole lifestyle of what it was to be, the gang lifestyle of Los Angeles. Because before then, we didn't really know about it. Like, if you were on the East Coast or you was outside of LA, you didn't know about, Bloods and Crips or, or Hoovers, any of those gangs. So he really introduced us to that life because Ice-T himself, he was affiliated with the Rolling 60s. And he went to Crenshaw High School, which in Crenshaw High School, you had Rolling 60s, Hoovers, A-Tray Gangster Crips, and you had Harlem Crips, or they were called Rolling 30s Crips, and that's what he was rapping about. He was rapping about the gang lifestyle of that era, and the things that that him and his crew they were doing at that time. But Ice-T, what he would do, and this is where I think where gangster rap started to skew away, like after him and like NWA, who came after him. Was that he always, like, hip hop at the time had to have if you was gonna rap about stuff like this, you had to have a political edge. And that's what Ice-T did. Even in his videos, he would die in his videos to show you this is what happens when you live in this lifestyle. Like, this is what can happen to you. Like, he had records like, like You Played Yourself, which he rapped about, like, listen, when you in this life, it's life or death. Like, it's nothing to be glorified. He was just, rapping about the stuff that they were doing. Now, granted, it wasn't the reality for everyone in Los Angeles, but it was the gang reality in Los Angeles at that time. And then NWA and them would come. And
So what, You Played Yourself was the...
yeah, You Played Yourself, yeah. But 6 a.m. was like that, was the record that really, when he took gangster rap and put it to the next level after PSK. Yeah, so sorry, 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning?
Yeah. Yep. 6 in the morning at my door, you know, like 6 in the morning, you know, the police are at my door. And he talked about that whole, everything about what it was, like the gang life and also, you know, the interactions they had with the police. And then NWA, who would come after him, because they used to open up for Ice-T, you know, they came and they were talking about it as well. You know, that's what Straight Outta Compton was all about. Because, see, at that time, like, you had to be authentic in hip hop. So if you were a gangster rapper,
You had to be authentic?
had to be authentic. You couldn't rap about what you did not live or go through or grew up in. You couldn't do it.
Because?
You could not. Because you would get, you had a level, hip hop had a level of integrity. You could not say these things because not only one, someone would pull your card, but also you had to be authentic. Like if you were fake, you got booed off. You got, get out of here, beat it.
Really?
Yeah, you had to be authentic in hip hop. So all the stuff that, even like Ice-T in his videos, he would say all the time, oh, well, my props are real. Because that was the lifestyle they were really living. Like, he like guns and stuff in his video, they were real guns. Yeah, real ammunition in there. But that's what it was. And a lot of those, like those early gangster rappers at that time, they were gang affiliated themselves. They managed, like some of them were actual gang members, but some of them were affiliated. Like the late, you know, Eazy-E and the MC Ren, you know, they were affiliated with Compton Crips. You know, I think it was Kelly Park Compton Crips. So, and that's what they were rapping about at that time. They were rapping about that lifestyle. You know, but hip hop, like I said, had to have a political edge because NWA had a political edge to them as well. Like they talked about the gang life, but they also talked about, hey, this is, you know, but about the systemic problems as well, what can cause the gang life.
So after that point, it exploded.
Well, it got so huge, yeah, it got huge. And you had a whole bunch of West Coast artists, like, because Ice-T was really one who he put the West Coast was on his back. Because even though he was, you know, like he was affiliated with the Rolling 60s, but, you know, he had all, like, you know, he embodied, like, all the gangs, like they gave Ice-T respect, like, even would roll with him and his entourage. Like, all the different gangs at that time, like, he was, like, because, you know, he was the first one out of the West Coast to talk about the life that they were living, so that he had that respect. And it was authentic because that's the lifestyle he was living, him and his crew.
Now, not all rap stars currently.
Not at all. Not at all. You can't be, like, you hear it sometimes in the lyrics, you're like, really? You're 19 and you saying your coke come in on boats? Like, what? That's ridiculous, no way. like, come on. Wait a minute, okay, so you've been doing this for how long? It's no way you could have amassed that. Yeah, or even just about them, you know, how they are in the club. It's like, no. What happens, hip hop started adopted this fake it till you make it model.
When did that happen?
It happened in the 90s. 90s was a very critical point in hip hop because you had these waves come in, you know?
Well, you've led me now back and forth. We're going to have to come back and finish some of this. Folks, we got a lot more to cover, evidently.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Yeah, get more up to date about
That's right.
You know, the current state of hip hop.
So hang with us. We're not done yet. We have more hip hop and rap to go right here on Urban Blackboard.